In the summer, I visit my grandparents in the countryside. They've lived there their whole lives, never wanting to move to the city. And who could blame them? Clean air, deep woods, endless fields, and a river that runs cold even in the heat of July. Not far from our village stands an ancient ash tree, tangled with hazel and rakita. It has been there for over 50 years, since the fire. No one dares to go near it after dark. People whisper about that place, and for good reason. As a child, I pestered my grandparents to tell me why. At first, they refused, but I was persistent, and after a long silence, they began their story. Decades ago, where only crumbling chimneys now stand, there was a small village. 20 houses, no more. It stood at the edge of a dense forest, so deep that even the Germans never dared to venture inside during the war. The partisans hid there, and the beasts, boars, wolves, and even bears ruled the night. Wolves were a constant threat, snatching chickens, goats, anything they could take. No one went into the woods unarmed. My great-grandfather once came across a lone wolf, shot it clean between the eyes, and made himself a fine winter hat from its fur. For years, there was a fragile truce between man and beast, until the village chief's daughter vanished. She had been playing in the meadow, too close to the tree line. Her mother had scolded her 100 times for wandering off, but the girl was well-behaved, polite. She would never run away on her own. The men gathered, armed themselves, and swept through the forest. Every wolf they found, they killed. More than 24 lay skinned before they discovered the girl's dress, torn and soaked in blood. A lock of her hair, still attached to a scrap of scalp, lay nearby. With heavy hearts, they returned home to deliver the news. The mother ran into the forest, screaming her daughter's name, and was never seen again. The father did not eat, did not drink, did not speak. For 3 days he sat motionless. On the 4th day, they found him hanging in his barn. They buried the little girl's dress in a coffin, laid her mother to rest beside it. The father, by old custom, was buried outside the cemetery, by the roadside, unworthy of consecrated ground, and that was when the terror began. At night, the villagers barred their doors, shut their shutters, sprinkled holy water across their thresholds. No one dared to step outside after sundown. Because something was out there. They heard it. Heavy footsteps pounding across rooftops, claws raking against wooden doors, something sniffing at chimneys. And the cries that made the blood freeze. No one dared to look outside, not even through a crack. They waited, trembling, until the first roosters crow. And then, silence. 2 weeks passed like this. They knew the truth. The village chief did not rest in his grave. He had taken his own life, and the damned do not sleep peacefully. But no one was brave enough to do what needed to be done. Then, one night, the horror came to them. My grandmother had just drifted to sleep when a scream shattered the silence. It was the kind of scream that twists the soul, the sound of a person being torn apart. The villagers burst from their homes, lanterns flickering in the dark. The screaming had stopped, but a terrible sobbing filled the night air. At the edge of the village, beneath the trembling light of oil lamps, they saw him, Matvei Petrovich, a veteran of 2 wars. He lay motionless. His belly had been ripped open, his face gnawed away, his throat torn to ribbons. And then someone whispered the words that sent ice into my grandmother's bones. The girl. She's missing. Someone else gasped, "Dear God, Irishka!" A frantic wail split the night. A woman pointed with a shaking hand. All eyes turned to the meadow, and there, under the pale glow of the moon, something moved. A figure. Small, white as a drowned corpse. It ran in jerking, unnatural steps, stumbling through the grass, braided hair, a child's dress, but no child's face. My grandmother said she had never seen anything so wrong. Blood smeared its twisted features, its mouth frozen in an agonized grimace. Its white, dead eyes burned with something beyond hatred, and then it turned to them. It opened its mouth, and from the depths of its hollow throat came a howl, long, mournful, filled with every agony of the damned. And in its arms, clutched to its chest, was a severed child's head. Irishka, The next morning, after they buried the girl and Matvey Petrovich, the men dug up the grave of the village chief. What they found was not a corpse. They hacked the thing to pieces and burned the remains under whispered prayers. Then they set fire to the village itself, leaving nothing but ash behind. And in the years that followed, a new village was built. Not far from that cursed ground, but far enough. The people built a church, found a priest, and from that day forward, no evil has walked here again, or so they say.